Welcome back to my YouTube channel, boys and girls. My name is Gift Rogu. I'm a Nigerian YouTuber who recently moved from England, United Kingdom to Alberta, Canada. And if this is your first time watching any of my videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. I make videos about lifestyle, travel, career, freelancing. Everything that you need to get your life in order is on this channel. Whether you want to move to a new country, or you want to move to a new job, or you want to get started in your life, take your life seriously, you want to be a freelancer, everything you want is on this channel. So if you're interested in turning your life around, this is the channel to subscribe to. No other channel comes close. Anyway, now we're done bragging about our channel. I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not, because today I'm going to be making my last immigration video for the year, talking about how to move to Canada as a permanent resident in 2020. Now that we are all subscribed and we've all liked the video, let's get started. I'm going to try my best to make sure that this video is not as long as possible, because I just finished filming a collab with a brand and I do have a couple of things to get. So I also want to try to film another video today. Now let's get started. What is the express entry? What is permanent residency? What is PR? PR means permanent residency. It's a stream, a pathway that enables you to come to Canada as a permanent resident. And if you're in good standing, you don't break any law, in 3 years you are eligible to apply for your citizenship. Who is eligible to apply for permanent residence in Canada? It's not about the amount of money you have in your bank account or in your pocket, or how rich your family or your parents is. There are rules and regulations regarding like who to apply and what to do when you're applying. So anybody can apply to Canada or to come to Canada as a permanent resident, as far as you meet the requirements. Now that we have that out of the way, what do you need to do to become a Canada permanent resident? First of all, you need to check your eligibility. So the Canada Express Entry, Canada government they have an express entry calculator that will enable you calculate your points to see if it's worth trying or not. The Canada Express Entry program is a points-based system, so they calculate your points. It's a ranking system where they rank you on different things, including your points. Now that we have that out of the way, let's move to the next thing that we need to talk about. I'm just trying to go as fast as possible. I don't want us to spend a lot of time on this video, as a lot of us are at home enjoying the holidays and spending time with our families, so I don't want to keep you on YouTube for so long. What does Canada look out for when they want to invite people to apply for permanent residency? The first thing is your educational qualification. You need to be educated. So you can have OND or HND or BSc or Masters or PhD. For me, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. But you don't need to have a bachelor's or master's like me. You just need to have education, okay? So this education can be in form of a PhD, like I said, a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, an OND or a HND, something, an education. Now, I said it's a points-based system. So for your education, you get a specific point. If you have a BSc, you will have like minimum points. You will not have a lot of points. However, if you have an HND, so if you have OND and HND, you have more points than someone that has just a BSc, because they classify it as 2 or more certificates. So your OND and HND is 2 or more certificates to give you more points than someone that just has a BSc. If you have a BSc and an OND, you will get more points than someone that just has a BSc. So what people that usually have only BScs do to get higher scores is they look for certification programs that they can do quickly. The ones that I know about, the one I did when I was still in Nigeria was this CIIN, which is the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, or Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, or CIIM, please. Okay, I can't remember what it means, but so it has insurance in it. It has Nigeria, it has chartered. So I don't know whether it's Insurance Institute or something. Okay, so you can do the CIIM diploma. If you do it, it will give you, and you pass it, to give you points like someone that has an OND and HND. Some people also do CIMA. Some people also do ACCA. ICANN will not give you that point. So some people also do BCS, which is the British Computer Society. Some people also go to Open University and do a 1-year diploma course. Whatever it is, make sure that it is accredited and it will give you points. Don't go and do any random certification you see on the internet, or anybody will promise you a certification that you can do. It will end in tears. So I've mentioned the one that I know. If you know more, please put it in the comment section. So if you have a bachelor's degree and you want to get your scores up, you can do a certification program. However, if you don't have this, that's still fine. People still get it with just their bachelor's degree. Now, if you have a master's is going to give you more points than someone that has OND, HND, only BSc. A master's will add an extra 41 or more than that, or more score to you. 41 points or more, 44 points, not 41 or 44, but it's more than 40 points that a master's degree will give you. So you can see that someone that has like a master's, you have like scores. Do you understand? You have a good score. If you have a PhD, you even have more scores or more points than someone that just has a master's degree, someone that just has a PhD. I hope you understand the academic credentials and qualification right now. Now, when you have your academic credential, you need to evaluate it with an evaluation body. Please note that people that have professional degrees like lawyers, pharmacists, doctors, even veterinary doctors, nurses, they get more points. Their degree is classified as a professional degree. So when they evaluate it, they're getting almost the same points, or even the same points as someone that has a master's degree. So they have like lots of points because their degree is a professional degree. So I've said medicine and surgery, which is doctors, nurses, pharmacists, lawyers, veterinary doctors, so they get more points. Now that is out of the way, your academic credential, you need to evaluate it with an evaluation body. There are a couple of them out there, but I usually recommend WES. WES is World Education Service. Please note that there's WES in the US and there's WES in Canada. What I'm recommending for you is WES in Canada, not WES in the US. There's also a body called ICAS that does the verification. I don't really know about ICAS because I've never used it. And one thing I usually do not like to do is to recommend things that I'm not familiar with. There's ICAS, you can ask. I think there's also another one for the medical body. So ask around, do your own research. If you have like a normal random bachelor's and master's like I do, my bachelor's is in English and Literary Studies. My master's is in management with digital marketing, normal random degrees. You can use WES, which is World Education Service Canada. So it will evaluate your academic credential in line with what is applicable in Canada. For instance, an English degree from Nigeria and an English degree in Canada, they need to ensure that the courses are alike, and it's like it's the equivalent. A master's degree in the UK, a master's degree in Canada, they have to evaluate to be sure that it's like the equivalent. Do you understand? So that's what the evaluation is for. And when you do your evaluation, they'll give you a report that you would use to apply for your permanent residency. Now that you have the academic credential evaluation out of the way, the next step is to write the English test. I usually recommend that you should pay for your evaluation because it takes a bit of time. Then pay for your IELTS, and while you're waiting for your evaluation, you are preparing to read for your English test, and so they will come out almost the same time and you can enter the express entry pool. Now, for the English test, there are a couple of them that you can do. There's the IELTS, which is the International English Language Testing Systems. And if you're doing the IELTS, you need to do your IELTS General, not your IELTS Academic, IELTS General. So there's the IELTS. You can do the CELPIP and the PTE. I think these exams, the general one, it doesn't matter if you've lived in the UK, if you're a UK citizen, it doesn't matter. If you're applying for permanent residence in Canada, you cannot run away from writing the IELTS. You will write the IELTS, maybe except you're a dependent, but I think you'll still write it when you're applying for your citizenship. So you can only run, but you cannot hide. You will write the IELTS. It's waiting for you in front. So you write the IELTS or your CELPIP or PTE. Don't ask me which one is easier. I have no idea. I did well in my IELTS. I do have a video on how I scored 9 in my listening. Listening carries the highest mark. So I'll put it here, put it in this description box, and you can go and watch it on my channel. For this IELTS now, which is the one I'm going to talk about because that's the one that I did. For your IELTS, to max it out, to get good scores in your IELTS, you need 8.5 over 9 in your listening, 8 in your reading, 7.5 in your speaking and in your writing, 8.5 in your listening, 8 in your reading, 7.5 in your speaking and in your writing. I am emphasizing this thing because if you get bad scores in IELTS, when you see your score, you will not recognize it. When they sum up your scores, I told you that it's a points-based system. When it's summed up, you will not believe what is going on with your profile. So as much as you can, try to get good scores in IELTS because it costs a lot of money. So try to get good scores in that English test. Like, put your best in the IELTS. I raised mine when I was not feeling fine. I was really sick. Like last year, July, I was really in and out of the hospital then in the UK. That's when I raised my IELTS. I read my IELTS on the 29th of July and got my result on mid-August. So it takes 2 weeks if you're doing the paper-based test. So I don't know the one that you should do, whether you should do the computer-based or the paper-based. I don't know. I only did paper-based. So I only talk about what I know. I've never done the computer-based. I don't know if you should do it. I don't know if you should not do it. I don't know which one is easier or better. I'm just saying that whichever one you decide, you should definitely take it seriously, read for it, because it costs a lot of money. It cost me £180 to write my IELTS, and now it's over £200 to write the IELTS. So yeah, if you're in the UK, Google, don't ask me where can you write the IELTS. I was living in Luton. I wrote mine in Watford, so you can Google IELTS centers near me and decide on the one that you want to write in. When you have your IELTS results, if you think that your score is still low and you want to up your score a little bit, and you are good in French, you know more than Je m'appelle, Give to a go, Je suis Nigerian, J'habite à Edmonton, Mon école s'appelle, like you know all this, like you know more than the basic French of like introducing yourself. You might want to write the French test. There are 2 French tests that you can write. One is the TCF and the other one is the TEF. If you are good in French, or you're able to like, you know, study for it and pass, I would really recommend that you do the French test if you can, if you have the money, if you can afford it, because it will give you more points. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I've always said on this channel that they are now taking category-based seriously. So different categories, they're focusing on different categories: healthcare, tech, transport, trade, French speakers, and agri. So if you don't fall under these categories, I don't know, like, I don't know. I have no idea. So I would say, like, take it really seriously. If you can write the French exam, you know that you're able to pay for a tutor, you're able to study for it, and you can write it. You can do the TF or TCF. It depends on where you are, but there will be a center for that wherever you are. So if you're a French speaker, please take that seriously and get that done. Get that done. When you have your report, your West report, your IELTS report, that everything is good, everything is all right, you need to enter the express entry pool. If you go online and search for Canada Express Entry Pool, you will see the website there. So you need to enter that pool. It's a website. So you register there, you put in all your details, your credential, your West evaluation, your IELTS result, you put in everything. If you did the French test, you put in everything. So different occupations have different codes. Marketing has its own code. Healthcare has its own code. They all have their codes. So I would say that if you want to use healthcare or something, and maybe you have another degree in maybe procurement or whatever, and then you have a little bit of healthcare experience, I would say you should use your healthcare, even if it's 1 year that you have, use it as your primary occupation code, and then use the other career path as your secondary occupation code, especially if you want to be considered for the provincial nomination. For me, my healthcare was my secondary occupation code, and my marketing was my primary occupation code. But what got me invited was my secondary occupation code, which was my healthcare, because for the healthcare, I did have a bit of experience, but I had more experience in primary, and I honestly wanted to get the federal draw because I wanted to live in Canada, in Albert. I wanted to live in Edmonton. So I got invited through the federal draw. I was not really interested in the provincial draws, so I didn't even put my healthcare as my primary occupation code. I put it as my secondary occupation code, and still got invited with my healthcare. So occupation code is also another thing, your career path, and the one that you know that is in demand. I've mentioned 6 that are in demand now, like 6 occupations, 6 categories that are in demand now. So if you know that any of your career paths fall under that, just put that as your primary occupation code. So you get considered for provincial nomination. So you enter into the express entry pool, like put in your details, everything, your age. Oh, I forgot to mention everything. You get points for a lot of other things. If you are more than 30, you start losing 5 points for every birthday. They prefer people that are younger, but that does not mean that once you clock 30, you're not eligible to apply anymore. Other things can give you higher scores, like doing well in your English test, having a master's degree. There are a couple of things that can help you get more scores. So if you're less than 30, you get the maximum point for your age. If you're more than 30, you start to lose 5 points for every birth. And please remember that I am not an immigration consultant. I'm just sharing my knowledge regarding what I know and what I did. So please, I'm not an immigration consultant, okay? I'm not helping you with your application. I don't want to see your profile to see what you filled. I'm not able to do that. I don't even want to do that, okay? Okay. Now, you also get points if you have a sibling in Canada. So it's not your uncle's, auntie's, wife's, brother's, grandmother. No. If you have a sibling in Canada, Ponkwe, mother, father, brother or sister or step sibling in Canada, you get 15 points for having a sibling in Canada. It's called family connection. Ponkwe, not your uncle's, auntie's, sister. No. Brother, sister, mother or father. You get more. You get points, 15 points for extra for having family connection in Canada. Your sibling must be a permanent resident or citizen. Don't forget that. So when you enter the pool, these are the things that you feel that also give you more points. So having a sibling in Canada, doing the French test to give you more points, having a master's to give you more points, doing well in IELTS. That IELTS is like magic because you'll be surprised what can happen. You'll be surprised at what can happen You're surprised at what can happen if you get a better score in your IELTS. You understand what I'm saying? Now that we have that out of the way, enter into the express entry pool, you start filling put your information in, everything that they asked for, your age, you put it all in. Then the waiting game begins. IRCC, you have to be patient to do IRCC. It's not the easiest thing to pursue, but you have to be very patient to do anything related to IRCC. Patience is a virtue, a very important virtue. So you need to be very patient in that regard. Now that you actually have that out of the way, you need to wait. So you wait for an invitation. So they usually do draws once in a while. So if they do a draw, you might be lucky and they invite you. For instance, let me say you've calculated your score from everything that you have and it's like 460. And then they do a draw and they cut 450. You get invited to apply. They cut 459. You get invited to apply for permanent residency. Another thing is if you have a spouse, it's best to ensure that your spouse also evaluates, because the way the scores are going now, they're really high. So it's best to ensure that your spouse evaluates their academic credential. But I would say ensure that your spouse writes the English test to give you more points. Ensure that your spouse writes the English test, because when you have a spouse, your score goes down. It only goes back up when, even though you have like great scores in IELTS and everything, you have a master's, your score will go down when you add a spouse, not a child or a spouse. The only thing that can help that is when your spouse also has like good academic credentials and also writes the IELTS, so your score goes back up. And also the age thing, I think when you have a spouse too, you get to lose 10 points from the age thing. I really can't remember. But then they calculate all of these things and then they give you a score and they do a draw. So you just wait in the pool and pray to God, fingers crossed. When they do a draw and you get invited, that's when you're going to have the most stressful time of your life, running around for references. I would say once you enter into that pool, just start going back to your former employers and making peace with them. Ensure that they give you a reference letter signed on the letter-headed paper, stamped. I did submit a pay slip though, but I had my pay slip just in case they wanted it. So have your pay slip ready, have your reference letters ready. Now about this reference letter, let me tell you something about this reference letter. That your NOC code that you've chosen. NOC code is your NOC. That's your job code, your occupation code. That your NOC, not NOC code, is like tautology. That your NOC that you've chosen. There are descriptions or job stuff like related to that, job descriptions for that NOC. Ensure that that job that you did is aligned with your NOC. Do you understand? For instance, if you say that your NOC is 33102, which was my NOC for healthcare, if that's your NOC, in Canada it's called nurse aid and orderlies, but in the UK it's called healthcare assistant. So ensure that the nurse aid and orderlies job description aligns with what you're submitting on your reference letter, aligns with what you did in that company as a carer, as a healthcare worker. If you're in marketing, like me, my primary occupation was marketing. So if you're in marketing, marketing, ensure that that NOC code for marketing that you've chosen aligns with that NOC for marketing that you've chosen aligns with the NOC for marketing in Canada. So the job description is supposed to be aligned. Okay, so get that reference letter, have it on your letter-headed paper, have them tell you how many hours they did in a week, how many hours you do in a week, how much you get paid per year, how many hours you do in a week, then the job responsibilities, your role, everything about that job needs to be on that reference letter. Very important. It also needs to be signed. It also needs to have the designation of the person that signs. It's something that somebody that they can reach out to. It's also help if the company that your company where you've worked in also has an online presence. They also have like good email address, not at gmail.com. Not at gmail.com. It has to be like a professional email. So it also helps that it has like a professional email, if you understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, so when you have that, you need to, when you get invited to apply, you need to submit your reference letter, you need to submit your bank statement. There's a certain amount of money you're supposed to have when you're coming to Canada. I'm not going to tell you how much it is. I don't know your family size. Don't ask me. Go to Google and check for how much do I need how much do I need for a family of 3, family of, like, how many are you in your family? We're just 2 for mine. So go and check how much it is. I'm not going to tell you that. And once you want to go through this process, a lot of research. You need to be willing to do a lot of research. So you also need to do your police clearance certificates from wherever you've lived in for more than 6 months. For me, I had lived in the UK, I had lived in Nigeria. I needed to get a police reference letter from Nigeria and police clearance certificate from the UK, which was from Accra. Now that I had both of them, I also needed to submit my passport with all of, I need to scan my passport with all of the stamps everywhere that I've traveled to. So I had like Schengen visa stamp on my passport, I had UK visa stamp on my passport. I also had like Schengen stamps, like from when I went to the Schengen area on holidays. So I had stamps from stamping into Prague, and I stamped out from Barcelona. So I had those stamps on my passport, stamps of like going in and out of the UK when I was traveling. So I had to scan all of that, all the visas and all the stamps, and I put it in one document, one PDF document, and I submitted it. You also, when you're filling the document, you also need to fill where you've traveled to, places you've traveled to, and how long you stayed there. So I put in all of that. Don't miss anyone. Ensure that you put in all of them. Don't miss any page of your passport that has a stamp or a visa. Scan that and send it in. Another thing that they actually asked for was my passport photograph. So I had to take a passport photograph. They'll give you the specification or the specs. So I had to take a passport photograph and all of that. So yeah, you submit all of the documents, including your bank statement. So I submitted all of that, and then the waiting game begins. So for your medicals, usually before or previously you would do an upfront medicals, but it's not the same thing now. Now the case is different. There's nothing like upfront medicals. You will be asked to do your medical test by IRCC. So what I did was I submitted a plain piece of paper, just a white paper plain. I took a picture of it and I submitted it in the medical certificate stuff. So I just submitted it and I had to wait. So if they're satisfied with what they've seen, they will now ask you later. It's a waiting period. You will wait. IRCC will teach you patience, so you wait. So I submitted it and I started to wait. I was waiting. So they actually got back to me, and I think in February ending, I submitted in December ending. February ending, they asked me to do my medicals and my biometrics. Like I said, they don't usually do upfront medicals anymore, I think so. So they will ask you to go for medicals when they want you to go for medicals, when they're satisfied with what they've seen, I think. So they asked me to go for medicals in February, ending of February. So I did my medicals on the 29th of February, my biometrics in London, my biometrics on the 4th of March. And then I had to wait. Another thing I forgot is if you're married, you also need to submit your marriage certificate. So yeah, I did my medicals and I did my biometrics, and I had to continue waiting. And then I got my PR approved mid-April. It's longer for some people, it's shorter for some people. It depends on your visa office. Every application is different. No two applications are the same thing. So don't say, oh, my friend, I know someone that his application took only 28 days, only 28 days. My own took way more than that. So everybody's application is not the same thing. It's different. It's not the same thing, okay? So it's very good to know that one and half piece. Know that and half piece, okay? What else am I missing? So yeah, that's basically the process. That's the process of applying for PR. It's not rocket. This is something that you can do by yourself, because I don't know why you're using an agent to help you apply for Canada PR. Is the agent going to write your IELTS for you? Is the agent going to help you with your WES? Is the agent going to meet your former employers to give you a reference letter? It's something that you can do by yourself. It's not rocket science. It's something you can do by yourself. So this is basically my story on how I moved. This is how I think you can move in 2025. So you need to get started now. Like, do you want to move and all of that? Yeah. So yeah, if you want me to talk about any other topic, please leave it in the comment section and I will talk about it. Also, if you want to chat with me personally about my journey, I'm not an immigration consultant though, but if you want to chat with me personally about my journey, it might not even be about my journey, it might be about freelancing or whatever. I have a calendar link in my bio, so click on it and check my calendar to see when I'm free, and let's have a conversation. Okay, let's have a conversation. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on TikTok at I am Gift to Go. I post more on TikTok, so let's chat there. Okay, thank you and bye.